Thank you very much. Thank you for Talking Galleries, for inviting me here, and thank you for joining me for this morning talk, this very early one for the presentation of the FEAGA Gallery Award. It is a great honor for me to speak in front of you, and I'm even more honored to see many of you took the early date and left the bed early. Let me first list a few historic moments that preceded the creation of the award, and so then it will be easier to understand what it's all about. My gallery was first founded in 1971 as a print edition. Since 1976, then, we participated for the next 35 years continuously at the fairs like Art Basel, then in FEAG and Wash Art in Washington and Art Cologne. So we always had contact with a lot of other galleries. Then in 1981 and later on, the art market developed. And in 1988, I was elected president of the Austrian Gallery Association and immediately thought we should create a European Artists Association. But little did I know about the details. At that time, information was not like today, you couldn't Google. So I called my German counterpart, Mr. Ernst, and he said, look, you don't need to create an association. FEAGA already exists. Come to our next meeting. So I came to the next meeting and had Austria first join this international group. And at that time, Mr. Wildenstein was the president of the FEAGA. At that time, I opened a branch in Frankfurt and later on one in Paris. Went to Art LA and Art London, and also the agenda was working together of the galleries, and I saw that many galleries that I had known were completely different from what I had imagined. Some of them had huge spaces, but very little morals. Some had small spaces, but high morals, and a lot of relation with their galleries, with the artists. The first moment as president of the Austrian Association also brought this wish to bring together many galleries and to make what we do visible. Many people, many of you that are sitting here probably do not know that there is an association that works secretly. We have just decided to be more visible. And is in charge of organizing, for instance, preventing for a long time the droit de suite and talking with different countries about VAT and harmonization of VAT and also of the need to work together. I still remember this morning we had a meeting of the FEAGA. I still remember the time when we were invited by the Italian Galleries Association, who left the room when we started to talk about VAT and said, look, it's not important for us because we do things our way. Today, this doing our way is that Italy has the worst tax laws in Europe. So I think working together and being part of a greater community, even if you do not like the art that the other gallery shows, or even if you don't like the way this other person works, is important because on the long run, we all have the same goal. We try to present our artists. We try to bring them to a higher public. We try to give them museum shows, to organize things. So in 2005, some years after my being part of the Art Basel committee, I had a long talk with Sam Keller, who was then the director of Art Basel. I was still a president of the FEAGA at that time, always accompanied by my now very good friend and then President Adrian, and now President Adrian Ramdonk. And I told him, look, I want to create a prize for galleries, because a gallery, like I've seen all those last 40 years, a gallery is two sides. People don't know what a gallery does, and we have to put those galleries that have really done exceptional work, we have to put them in the focus. So we created the prize visible and invisible. Visible is what you see. It's the shows, it's the articles in the press, it's the great openings, it's the dinners, it's everything. It's the artists that become famous. And invisible is the real work of the gallery. The work that is actually the work that we are always talking about. Writing letters, talking long talks with collectors, convincing artists that your ideas are the ones that they should join, your place is the one they should join, talking with colleagues and trying to convince them to also get engaged in what you like. And I'm sorry if I've sort of jumped backwards and forwards. It's because yesterday I wrote a presentation, which of course is nothing to do with what I say today. As always, things come to my mind. I see my colleagues here, and we started this prize in 2005 with the support of Art Basel, in the sense that Art Basel now pays for the buffet and the champagne, and it gives us the space. And since that time, we have honored a large list of galleries. On one side, honoring lifetime galleries that have been visible for their exceptional work, and on the other hand, trying to motivate young galleries through this prize who are exceptional in the sense that they already from the beginning tried to work with other galleries and tried to be visible and tried to make their art visible. And so the first year, also as a great reference to one of our great role models, the prize was given to Ernst. And at that time, through the recommendation of David Judah, we gave it to Esther Schipper. She was maybe not that young a gallery at that time, but she was already very much known in Berlin and everywhere for bringing people together and creating large groups of galleries. The next year, just in time, we gave the prize to Denis René in France, who at that time already was almost 90 years old, and we thought it very important to give her the prize because she had really done for the concrete and for the abstract, not abstract, but the concrete conceptual art more than any other gallery in the world. At that time, we gave the prize for the young gallery to Ellen de Bruyn from Netherlands. The next year, unfortunately, after her timely decease, we gave the prize to Annelie Judah, who was also since the 50s a gallery of an exceptional standing, co-creator of many art fairs like Art Basel, and she was also there from the beginning at Cologne. And she always had an impeccable record of being correct with her artists and being correct with their colleagues. The next year, we gave the prize to Hans Meyer, and for the first time, I could have an Austrian gallery receive the prize. It was Leyer Wüstenhagen. Today, it's only Emanuel Leyer, but he's one of those galleries that have, through steady work, become much more knowledgeable than many of those galleries that made a lot of noise. He represented his artists, and today you find him at all the big fairs. And it took him 15 years to really become somebody, a byword of a young gallery. And his former partner was then the director of Art Basel Hong Kong, and is still a very influential guy doing Mr. Wüstenhagen into the Shanghai Art Fair. The next year, Spain was in our focus, and we gave the prize to Soledad Lorenzo, a lady of the highest standing, and somebody who was very greatly respected in Spain. Unfortunately, she decided a year later on to close her gallery, which still does not mean that this prize was not special for her. Gallery BQ from Germany, Berlin, was the prize for young contemporary art. The next year, we tried to look to the north. We always tried to sort of distribute, even though it is a completely neutral and completely uninfluenced decision who gets the prize, I give my committee members always areas where to look for, because we want this prize to be evenly distributed in the whole of Europe, to be a motivation for all galleries and to be a motivation for all different countries who are members of our association. By the way, FEAGA is a European Association of Art Galleries association. So it's an association of associations. So not single galleries are members, but the associations that represent the galleries. It's a word of advertising is allowed. I tell all galleries who are not in an association that to join an association, because you can only have a vote if you have a voice, and you can only have a voice if you have a vote. This is something that you cannot complain about high VAT or changes in the art world if you don't speak within your association, and if you don't speak within a group of people, because the artist associations, they have thousands of members in every country. So we have to, in order to be good partners, also have a strong voice. And you cannot have a strong voice alone. You need partners. This is also one of the reasons why I think that Talking Galleries is a major achievement for us, to have a platform where we can talk. The next year, and V1 Gallery Denmark was the Young Contemporary Gallery in 2010 that we advanced. So you see, we don't select anybody with the same program. We select completely different programs, completely different personalities. What we like, and what we try to sponsor with this prize, which is not a money prize. It's just you just get 2 little sculptures with the visible and invisible sign on it, and you have to pay for your own laudator, your own honorary speaker. Okay. Then the year afterwards, we had no young gallery, which we wanted to put forward, so we gave the prize only to one gallery, and we gave the gallery to Studio La Città in Italy, a gallery that has also been, since the 60s, a very special place. The next year, we honored Mrs. Grinzinger, that you heard yesterday in the round table, and we gave the prize to Freeman Good, Fine Arts, who was also here on the panel yesterday. Unfortunately, Mr. Good decided after 5 years to close the gallery, but it's not obligatory to close the gallery after you get the prize. It should be a motivation to continue. The next year, we honored Leslie Waddington, a pillar of the English Art Society, and Annie Molnar, our first gallery from former Eastern countries. She's now here, and she's a steady participant at Talking Galleries. And she's really worked for years to bring the Hungarian market apart from politics, bring it forward and bring Hungarian. She does the art market organizes the art market in Budapest, and she's at many international fairs. The next year, again, Germany, we gave the prize to Gisela Capitaine and Gallery Jocelyn Wolf in France. The next year, Netherlands came a second time, was Gallery Fons Welters and Kau, Germany. And then in 2016, we had Gallery Klüser from Germany. Unfortunately, again, also to say that we are completely independent. This was the year that Art Basel decided they didn't want Mr. Klüser anymore in their exhibition. But as I told Mark Spiegler, we are very grateful for your help. We're grateful for your support, but we're completely independent. We have no financial considerations. We have neither my friends nor my enemies play any role in this decision of this prize. The young gallery in 2016 was Gallery Kasela and Temnikova from Estonia. Also very important for us to sort of bring galleries who are not yet in the center of the focus, countries that have very clearly just joined the European market just 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but they all have incredibly good art, and slowly they get more and more good galleries too. So last year we had 2 lifetime prizes because we didn't have a young gallery that we really wanted to honor. But it's very difficult these days to honor a young gallery, because a young gallery is not just because it's young and is good. We also want it to be a gallery that takes part in the life and is not just working on itself. And so this year, last year, actually, yeah, it's last year. I mean, we have January. I'm sorry. So we gave the prize to Rosemarie Schwarzwälder from Austria and Gallery Massimo Menini from Italy. All these people have had a long story, and we can all learn from them, because these are galleries that have succeeded in several crises. Let me just remind you that in '73 we had the first oil crisis. I remember I still had the gallery then, and for about 6 months nobody bought anything because everybody was afraid that the complete movement of the world would be stopped. Then in '82 we had the crisis of the Israel-Arab war. Everybody was afraid that this war would expand. And then we had an incredibly good time, '88, '89, and suddenly the big crash came again in '90. And many, like Mr. Tamplon yesterday said, when many galleries really did not succeed because they had sold works for 2 million that suddenly were only worth 200,000. And all those galleries that we gave the prizes to, they all had succeeded and prevailed in bad times. And by the end of '95, the market was good again. And now again, we have these ups and downs. And the most interesting thing is that the art market has somehow split completely from the world. If you read a lot of magazines and you read about war and hurricanes and everything, and at the same time you read about good sales, this means that the art market is apart from it. It's also apart because today we have rich people, not like in the '80s, that took large credits and large bank loans, but today we have rich people who spend the money. The great loss to the galleries is now the middle class. The people that spend 5,000 to 10,000 euros, and they are coming back a little. And I think I can only recommend to all galleries not to overlook the middle class, because the middle class was always the ones that were the intellectual backbone of the galleries. They were the ones that forced you to talk, that forced you to get involved, because they followed artists for years. I just read an article about from the Vienna Contemporary on Facebook, which of course we have, like everybody probably now, and it's a collector called I just forgot his name. Anyway, he's a young composer. Well, not so young these days anymore. And he has over 500 works of art. And he still remembers the first encounter with Ernst. He was like 14 years old. And he came to the gallery and looked through all the stock of the gallery. And then he saw a Chilida drawing. But that was in the beginning of the 80s or even in the 70s. And Mrs. Bayerle made a mistake and said 500 euro. And the next day he came at the equivalent of 500 francs. The next day he came and she said, look, we made a great mistake. I just forgot 2 zeros or 1 0. And he was completely flabbergasted and completely destroyed. And she saw that. And she said, come again tomorrow. He came the next day, the painting was packed, and she said 500 euro. And this is a way to build up collectors and build up the friendship by being generous with your collectors and being generous with your artists and being a role model. One of the many reasons we gave the first prize to Ernst Bayerle was that he always helped young galleries. I still remember him passing my booth in Art Basel, and I had bought 2 prints from Picasso, which I thought were wonderful, and he said, look, better take them down. I don't believe in them. Of course, immediately I took them down, and later on found out that there was a big forgery circle in Italy at that time, and which I didn't know. I was very young. I was like 29. And for me, I was so happy to have 2 etchings of Picasso on my booth. So he came by, and he didn't make a fuss or didn't make a lawsuit. He just said, look, better take them down. And this is the way to treat your colleagues, and this is the way to treat collectors, and this is the way to create trust. So I'm very happy today to tell you all about this prize and to aim towards receiving it. I cannot tell you yet who will receive it this year, but I can tell you it's the first time we had the chance to with such a distinguished audience. And thank you, Talking Galleries, for giving us the chance to speak here. I thought, even though it's a presentation, if you want to ask some things, I think I still have 5 minutes time. If you want to ask something, I'm happy. Oh, I forgot the committee members. At the moment, the award committee, besides myself, who has been elected for lifetime, which is very nice, but sometimes I think the burden will be a little too much, but whatever. We have Adrian Ramdonk sitting here, on the FEAGA president. We have David Judah. We have Christian Jamuszek, the head of the German Association, and then we have Gio Marconi and Victor Giesler. This year, I will ask a new person to be member of the committee and every year we try to augment the committee to make more influences heard in the decision process. So, please, if you want to know anything, I'm happy to answer it. If you want to know nothing, I'm happy for all of you to have been here, and I thank you. And if you need some information who the next prize will be, please write to the FEAGA or write to me. It's my pleasure to answer it. Thank you very much, and thank you, Talking Galleries.